Good Sunday afternoon.
Hello, you get me for 2 Sundays in a row. What?
And we'll get to why eventually. Hello.
Hey, our epic RV adventure. Good to see you as always.
Make it easy. Don't got much in the chat yet. I like that. I can remember. Oh, here they come.
And Mel Nettie, living free zip code list. Good to see you
Hey,
guys. Thanks for coming. Our friends, K&R Destinations.
What?
Hey. You know, I have just been so excited for you guys since you got your trailer and just seeing your joy and how excited you are to get out on the road. I know it's been a long time coming, so I'm so happy for you guys. Dear family, you're not last, sillies. Thanks for
You're
coming.
not first, you're last. Oh, no.
So harsh. Miss Thrifty Angela. Hello,
Greetings.
hello again. Shar of Heart is here.
Hello.
Good afternoon to you as well. Oh,
Buddy dog.
Brian,
Haircut.
the Brochheim.
Hairs cut.
Yes, I
Ow.
finally had some time. His beautician was a little backed up, so.
We got some
Finally got
X-Lax and she's good now.
Oh, good.
Dad jokes.
James Catanese. Hi, buddy. Thanks for joining us. And then Miss Sue with Lucky Dog
Hello.
Productions moderator. Good to see you.
Hello.
Thanks for coming.
Everyone. Sorry. Hello. That's my job. Hello.
Camping therapy is here. RV Underway raid. Whoop, 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 whoop. Thank you, RV Underway. We appreciate that. I am pushing to hit more than one live stream today. Nice.
What?
Nice. It's so hard, especially the weekends, man. They're just like one after the other. It's hard to keep up. I struggle. Aw, you guys are so welcome. Oh, yes.
Stream bot.
The
Stream
bot's
bot.
going.
Stream bot.
Yes, Bill.
This is just for Roy. It's for you, Roy.
He hasn't in here yet.
Oh.
But yeah, Bill wanted to try out the whole bot thing since we're doing an interview today. So we shall see. Well, what are you? What? Well,
What are you in? You don't podium. English is not your first language.
I'm assuming those are typos. Hey, RV Ashes in April. Thanks for joining us.
I'm a jackrabbit.
Yeah, sometimes.
Yep.
But we love him. We love him. K&R says they've been having a great time. I'm sure. They've gone on, 3 trips already? And they've only had their rig for like a week and a half?
That's right.
Heck yeah.
I feel like I'm
Oh, did you
Too
see what I
close.
bought at Walmart? Ooh. And inquiring minds want to know. The Aloha Conch is here.
Walmart.
Hey,
Hello.
hey.
Hello. Oh, wait. Aloha.
Aloha. Thanks for coming in. Let's see. Oh, our Epic is saying hey to everybody.
Epic.
Who else did we miss?
Thanks for the raid. RV underway.
If you don't. So what do you do if you don't?
What if you do if you don't podium?
I don't know. Is that a conundrum?
I don't. I'm lost.
You got to type the whole thing out again, man.
What?
English, yes. We do know
Anglais.
un poquito español. Brownie points. Whoop, whoop. All right, we got through the hellos.
We nailed it.
Yeah.
Our show is done. It's not going to rain in here.
Camping Therapy says it's the latest video. I have to watch the end. Less than 4 minutes.
We
Big
will.
surprise. Ooh.
We shall.
Yes. We'll head on over after we're done living.
Did you guys watch us last week? We had this bright idea to go live from a park in Chicago. We had a fabulous weekend.
Mm-hmm.
Social distancing in a large city. That was interesting.
Yeah.
We had fun. But yeah, we tried to do a live from a park. And
Hey, RV Underway. Thanks for coming by. Drive careful, Miss Barbara.
Miss Barbara's driving.
Hey, hey.
How many cameras do you have around you, Miss Barbara?
Right? More than she wants, I'm sure. Yeah. K&R was asking if you went all Ricky Bobby. Because he's throwing up that accent there a little bit.
You ain't first, you're last.
That's what it was. Oh, we have Idle Cruises on Land and Sea.
Well,
Hey,
look at
guys.
that. Hello.
Thanks for joining us.
Tell us about your channel. Tell us all. We'll all come and check you out. Because we like that. We like new folks.
Absolutely.
First,
so drop it in the comments.
second, third, and I was the fourth comment, which means I didn't. Oh, the podium. Got it.
Yeah.
Sports family.
See,
Just on the Xbox.
I was thinking of like a podium, like where you stand and give speeches, like the president. So, oops.
Ask not.
Yeah. Oh, phone doesn't work right. Oh, bummer.
Well, I'm glad you're here.
Absolutely.
We're the best anyway.
What a burger just tipped $10.
What?
What?
Thank you, What a Burger.
Heck yeah.
That is awesome.
We got to get in there.
I didn't even see that bot thing do the thing, but that is sweet. I bet I know who that was.
I have a guess.
Yeah.
Our Epic RV Adventure.
That's our guess.
Just a guess.
Could be incognito.
Yes, it was a total rain show. Oh my gosh. So it had been beautiful all weekend in Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
The sun was shining, the skies were blue, and then on Sunday, we saw that there was a storm front moving through, but it was rain was getting pushed back like every hour. We were watching it on the weather app on our phone. So it wasn't supposed to start raining until after 5. Well, lucky us, we had a little cloud burst.
It rained. It poured. The funny thing to me, because I'm kind of crazy, we stood there at a bus stop, pouring rain with these umbrellas. Will's is like busted on one side, and Bella gave me her umbrella, but I was trying to use it to cover us both up. Yep. And it was pouring. Pouring. We're soaked to our underpants.
Yes.
Soaked.
Literally.
You know when it stopped raining? The second we got on the bus.
True story.
Yeah.
It was awful though. Like all of our shoes were sopping wet. So when we got to the hotel, Bill was smart. He made like this makeshift dryer in the sink and used the hair dryer that the hotel provided. Put our shoes in the sink and the hair dryer so it would circulate in there and dry out the shoes. Oh my gosh, it was such a fiasco.
That was fun.
So
we did the kids' shoes because they kind of smelly.
Yeah.
Smelly.
Bye, Cats. 4 Cats is here. Hey, Eric.
Yo, what up?
Good to see you, Broheim. Who else? Yeah. Well, it's okay.
I'm confused.
You guys do rock it pretty good. Well, it was a fun memory, and I'm sure the kids will, as they get older, hey, remember that one time we got caught in the rain? And, just one of those fun things.
Pina coladas.
Yeah.
Squirrel.
Yeah, threw me off. No,
they don't have a channel yet.
Out.
Well, we appreciate. So you are what we call an NN in our community, non-content creator. And we appreciate those very, very much.
Yes, thanks for coming by. We promise to be #mildly entertaining.
Mildly. Only mildly. Yeah. That's all you're going to get.
Maybe a little more. Oh, Diary says
underpants. They were wet. I had to change my underpants.
Stop. But it was
it was because of the rain this time.
Yeah.
This time.
Oy vey. But the great part about it was we were in a hotel. So we got nice, long, hot showers.
Yep.
And the part that was interesting is the hotel we stayed at used to be Cook County Hospital in Chicago. So it was very beautiful, like interesting architecture. And I was overhearing one of the front desk guys talk about how the Historical Society came to them when they were building the hotel. It was a Hyatt, and said that they had to keep the original flooring and they had to do all of these things to keep the original integrity of the building because it's a historical building because it's over 100 years old. So it's great that they didn't knock it down. It was cool. Great place to stay, and we just had tons of fun in Chicago. Yes, despite
it was fun. We talked about it. We made some videos up there, of course. And my brother saw online or something that they still have the observation rooms for like the surgical floor, and they're not quite sure what to do with those, but they are somewhere in the hotel.
Yeah,
we tried to snoop around. Didn't see anything.
No, they have them closed off, I'm sure. But Camping Therapy is asking about the non-creator thing. So
I don't make these rules.
no, I think
Blue Wave Bob.
Yeah.
Blame it on him. NN. Type in NN in the comments if you're a non-content creator. I don't make those acronyms.
Yeah.
Words are tough.
Kanar says the kids will remember when Mom went wild in the Jeep in the expert level rock climbing.
That was fun.
Yes. Oh my gosh, that was so much fun. So if you guys haven't seen it, KNR is talking about our off-roading in a Jeep in Moab video. That was one of our stops along our trip from Nevada here to Illinois. We rented a Jeep and we just had a blast. So you got to go check that one out for sure. Let's see.
So what else have we been up to?
Yeah. So when we came home from Chicago, we were walking like I hadn't felt good the day before. Just feeling really wiped out. And then even when we left Friday, I was still feeling, okay. But then, of course, we hit it hard because there's so much we wanted to see and do. So we were walking like 25,000 steps a day. So by the time Monday rolled around, I woke up and I was just so nauseated. I had really bad vertigo, like I'd been drinking all night long. So I hadn't even had a drink, which was crazy. So I thought maybe I was dehydrated. Drank a bunch of water. That didn't help. Thought maybe it was my sinuses going crazy. So I took some ibuprofen. That didn't help. So I was sick for a couple of days. I ended up calling into work Wednesday. I got a little bit of a fever. And that was all they heard was fever. So
some magical word, fever.
It's so dumb.
Fever.
So they said, well, you need to call employee health because one of the symptoms of that ugly bug that's going around is a fever. Because, yeah, when you get an infection, you get a fever. Duh. But, yeah, so they had me call this respiratory clinic and tell them my symptoms. I said, but they're not any symptoms of COVID. But I jumped through the hoops. And then, yeah, they want me to get tested because now fatigue is a symptom. Duh. And supposedly vertigo or dizziness is a symptom. So whatever. So I go and get my nose swabbed. This is the second time I've had this done. And oh my God, she was digging towards the brain. It hurt so bad. My eyes were watering.
Had to dig. She couldn't find one. So she kept digging.
Shut up.
Ow!
Sorry.
What are you doing?
I love you.
I'm not Kyle.
Okay.
Stop hitting me.
Sorry, I've been watching them too much. And then you have to wait around for the results to come back. And it was negative, of course, because I knew I didn't have it. So annoying. But yeah, and then I missed work. So that's why I'm here, because I got my results back Friday. But of course, it was close to the end of the business day. So when I called employee health, because you have to be released from employee health, they were already out of the office. So yeah, whatever.
So we got some extra Natasha time.
Yes.
Which was nice because I had my birthday on Friday. Mm-hmm. I think she was off that day anyway.
I was.
We got to have some fun.
That's right. Hey, Vanderella. Thanks for coming in.
Surprises. If you know me, it's always about food. Mm-hmm. So she surprised me with donuts in the morning and grilled up some steak and asparagus. And
jalapeno poppers.
Oh, yeah. All the good stuff.
Yeah.
Food all day. Yeah.
Hey, JW.
What's up?
Thanks for coming in. That's mean to laugh at the pain. Oops. Oh, but Kyle feels it.
Thank you, Kyle.
Sorry.
Jeez.
My COVID test was just circle swabs and my nostrils got negative results yesterday. Good. I'm glad you're negative. Yeah, the first time I had my COVID test done, that's what they did. They put it in and then they do small circles for 10 seconds and they do the other side. But this lady went in one nostril and she went all the way in the back and was scraping. Oh, it was awful.
Are you ready? Sticker swap.
Ah, yeah.
Sticker swap.
Well, Vanderella says happy belated birthday.
Thank you.
And so does
banner.
Idle Cruises on.
Thank you very much.
Land and Sea. All right, I'm throwing up banners now.
Throwing up a banner. We do a sticker swap. We have stickers. We get them printed off. If you want a sticker, we'll send you one. All you got to do is email us your address. We'll send you one. If you got a sticker to swap with us, we'll give you our address.
Yep.
If you have a sticker like the Cruisin' Coleman's,
whoop, whoop.
right there.
That's It's all right.
They sent us a sticker, and now we're blurry.
Oh, that darn Mike does it every time. That's all right. We'll say hi to Happy Place Camping.
Oh, no!
Did she go in one nostril and out the other? Dude, she totally could have. My septum is deviated now. I don't know.
That is weird.
Oh, there. There, got your hand.
Keep coming back. Keep coming back. It works.
It
But it doesn't.
doesn't. It's fine. We'll put our faces close. Will it work?
Oh, my goodness.
Can you see us?
Anyway, that's our sticker swap. That is weird.
Hi.
And
Dang, it didn't work. All right. Well, we'll figure this out. But yeah, let's move on. So yes, if you got stickers, you want to swap, let us know. If you don't have stickers and you want one of ours, email us. Let us know. We'd love to send you one.
that would be sweet. Should we move on to our special guest today?
Let's do it. Let's do
really
it.
don't. That really bothers me. I don't like that at all.
Sorry, guys.
Okay. Sorry that we're fuzzy. We probably look better now. So that's, well, I do.
Bill messed it up every time.
Yeah.
That's okay. We still love him.
But thank you for being here. That seems to be the magic focal distance. That close.
Well, there, we just have to scooch up. The-
Yeah, so we have a special guest today. I've been thinking about this, getting this in the works for a while now. This gentleman I have known since at least 1991, 92. That's when my brother graduated. We were freshmen at a high school in Elkhorn, Nebraska. And just last few years, noticed he's also has a YouTube channel.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought, wow. And of course, we're always about, everybody has their circles, and how do you expand circles? And I'm like, well, then, hello. I have Mr. Tony right here. Why don't we try to do something together? That would be it. Yeah, they're supposed to be autofocus.
Yeah.
So without further ado, if you're ready, give us a wave. We'll bring you up.
Right on.
Here he is. This is Tony from Masskikes. Hello, sir.
How's it going, guys?
Good. And we can hear you. That is great.
You can hear me. That's good. Am I fuzzy too? I don't know. I can't tell.
No, you are crystal clear. You look great.
Crystal clear. Look at all those hats.
Was trying to figure out all this StreamYard before I got down to the wire, and then I was doing it while you guys were talking. I'm like, I don't know. Hopefully it's right. So
You nailed it.
Yes.
And it's better this way because we haven't actually chatted till now.
Yeah.
So I can actually say, holy cow, it's good to see you.
You too, buddy.
How are you?
We talked.
Brian says night power.
There you go, Night Power.
Yes. So yeah, obviously we know each other from high school. Tell us a little bit about yourself and your family, sir.
Well, I'll tell you what, man. After high school, we both kind of did the college thing for a little while. I didn't last very long. You know, I don't know how much you share about high school, but we went to a boarding school and it was pretty locked down. I mean, not like quarantine locked down, but locked down. And college was just a little bit too much freedom for me. So I decided I needed a little bit more restriction and ended up back in a similar kind of a thing. I ended up joining the Marine Corps. I was in the Marines for 3 years, got hurt, and got medically discharged from there. You know, I was always kind of a heavy-set guy, and I mean, you know that, even through high school, everything. And the Marines was kind of I don't know, it wasn't a rude awakening. I mean, I was pretty good shape for a while there, but when I got hurt, things just went downhill, and I put off surgery for about 15 years, and finally couldn't take it anymore. I just got ridiculously overweight and realized that I was eating myself to death, and my kids weren't going to be around. My wife and I are foster parents. We've been foster parents for about 12 years now. We've got 2 biological kids and 2 adopted kids, and at any given moment, we've got X number of foster kids in the house. And it just became clear that I wasn't going to be around long enough to see any of my kids grow up. So I decided I better figure that out and started getting back in shape, and the COVID 25 has not been good to me. That's for sure. I started doing long distance hiking. It kind of became my therapy, to be honest. And was on a pretty big hike. Was supposed to do a pretty big hike this year, about 2,200 miles, and made about 70 miles in, and all this COVID stuff hit, and everybody was saying you need to go home. Schools were closing, towns are closing, everything like that. And it just was kind of crazy. And, I got home, and without being able to I've been planning that hike for several years. And when that kind of all went out the window, I got pretty depressed, and it was interesting. I mean, it's been a crazy 6 months for everybody. So, I mean, I can't imagine with you guys. At least I was able. I put a nomad lifestyle on when I want to, but you guys are living it full time, and some of the craziness that was going on, I can't imagine what you guys were, thinking half the time. It was as things are starting to close down, and what's going to happen if towns are closing and RV parks start closing and things like that. What are you guys going to do as far as where do you go? So,
right. Yeah, it's definitely been a change. We're not really out there exploring like we used to, because museums are closed and all sorts of things to do with the kids are closed.
Hey, Nomadic Hippie, thanks for popping in.
That's definitely changed our life.
Yeah. So you said you got into hiking for your health. How exactly did you jump into it? Did you just start, like going for local hikes, like in your hometown, or?
Well, even in high school, even when I was younger, I was in Boy Scouts and Cub Scouts and all that. So I was always kind of an outdoors guy anyway. But as I got heavier and heavier, it just kind of all went by the wayside. It was one of those things where you just didn't, you get home from work and you don't want to do a dang thing. You just sit there and it's your day's over.
You spiral.
So I started losing the weight, and realistically, I didn't even start exercising. I just kind of changed my food lifestyle. As far as what I was eating, I realized I was really eating some really bad stuff, putting a lot of crap into my body. And that's kind of how I started losing the weight. And then as I started getting more energy and feeling better again, then I started getting a little bit more local hikes and day hikes and things like that. Walking the neighborhood, exercising on the treadmill, and realized from the day hikes that that was really where I love to be. Obviously I'm a foster dad. I'm a husband. I love my family. And I drag them along as much as I can. If anybody that's seen my channel knows I've got kids that go out. My youngest son, Snot Rocket, he's a hiking beast. That's his trail name, by the way. Hiking is kind of a weird animal. You have your real name, and then you have a trail name, and his name's Mason. But when he's on trail, he goes by Snot Rocket, and if you can't figure out why, so it just kind of became my therapy, and I realized how much I enjoyed it, and it just kind of kept going from there. So.
That's awesome. Do you mind sharing, if you don't want to answer it, you don't have to, but how much weight had you lost?
I dropped over 110 pounds.
Wow.
I was about 258 when I started losing the weight. And I started losing the weight just because I crested 265 and I was like, holy crikey, what are we doing here? And about 25 or 30 pounds into that, I had a nephew. And yes, this is going to sound weird, but I had a nephew that was a year older than I am. I was an accident. I have brothers and sisters that are old enough to be my parents. So I had a nephew that was a year older than I am that actually died from a heart attack. And that was kind of the slap in the face. At that point, it became really real. It wasn't just, hey, you're ridiculously fat. It's, hey, you're killing yourself. And so I went from 268 down to, I was actually at 144 at one point.
Wow.
I'm probably closer to 175 right now. Like I said, COVID has not been good to me. But yeah, no, I dropped over 110 pounds. So
that's phenomenal. Congratulations.
Thank you.
We want to say hi to Kathy's Outdoor Adventure. She just popped in, and Mom is here, Mary Stevens.
Hey, ma'am.
She's walking the mall. She's doing her hike right now.
And that's a good place to start. I'll tell you what. That was kind of how I started after I had my back surgery, was walking the mall. You know, you got to start somewhere. So
absolutely. Diana DeForest brings up a good point. The trail will always be there when all of this is done. Absolutely.
That's what I keep telling myself. But when I was 70 miles into a 2,000 mile or 2,200 mile journey, it was a little hard to swallow that.
Yeah. So why hiking? What got you into the hiking bug, I guess?
You know, it was kind of a means to an end. It was the nature aspect of it. And you just start walking and the views you see are incredible. Even when you're in what they call the green tunnel, which is where you're just kind of in the forest and there's just trees and everything. There's really you're not in the mountains. You can't see long distance views or anything crazy like that. You never know what you're going to find. I mean, I'm kind of a nerd. Moss. I get a kick out of moss. I get a kick out of funky rocks, woodpeckers, squirrels, deer. You know, it's just whatever you're going to find. And you never know. You're walking down the street and you're probably going to see a pop can. I mean, how exciting is that? You're certainly not going to see, in most cases, you're not going to see a deer walk across the path in front of you. You're not going to see moss growing on a rock unless it was put in by, somebody that worked for me in the landscape company that, you paid $450 for that rock and it already had the moss on it.
Right. Well, and it's more than just the sights, it's almost like a full body experience, all of the smells of the earth and the trees and the forest. And then you're out there by yourself. So you're out there with your thoughts and with your mind and, with the good Lord above.
Absolutely. And that's really what it comes down to for me is it, I've always had, obviously I went to a Catholic schools all the way through college. And I definitely have faith, but for me, religion kind of became that's one of those things you just don't talk about. And nature and hiking, it kind of became my church, my way to commune with whatever's out there, the bigger picture. And it just really allowed me to kind of regain my faith. So
that's awesome. All right. So Kathy's Outdoor Adventure was saying since she started her all-day hiking, she's lost 15 pounds in 2 months. That's awesome. Nice. Yeah. Hippie says the older you get, it's easier to gain weight than to lose it. That is
for sure.
Yes.
Yeah, it took me a long time to get to 268. It didn't take me very long to get back to 175 or whatever I'm at now.
That's awesome.
So how was it in the beginning? You start hiking. Do you take it easy? Do you say, I'm going to go tackle that giant hill over there? Was there something?
You really gotta pace yourself. You know what your body can or can't do, and sometimes you can overthink it and you pay for it. A little over a year ago, I took my son. We were gonna do a section hike of the Colorado Trail, which is about 485 miles from Denver to Durango in Colorado through the Rocky Mountains, and we were figuring on doing about 75 or 80 miles, and we did 16.8 and I had been training for it. I'd been exercising and hiking and things like that. And my son, who would have been 18 at the time, had really not been doing a whole lot. He's a high school kid. He was a senior. He thought he was tough. And we got out there and we started hiking and we did about 13 miles. And he decided he was trying to keep up with his old man and he had to be tough and everything else, and didn't tell me he was starting to get pain in his hip. And then about 15 miles in, he started getting a blister. And so we were about 17 miles into our first day, and we had to call our hike because he had a blister the size of a silver dollar, and his hip was killing him and everything else. And he was trying to keep up with the old man, trying to do whatever. So really that comes down on me. I should have known better to say, hey, this kid hasn't been preparing for it like I have. And but then on the same token, I literally just went back a couple weeks ago to Colorado to keep going on that hike from where we had stopped off last year. And right out of the gate, jump back 6 months ago when I was in Georgia, I was doing 17, 18 mile a day hikes. And I'd been training for it, preparing for it. Well, then COVID happened and the quarantine and everything else. And I sat around for 4.5 to 5 months. And I got to Colorado and did 20 miles the first day. And man, I paid for it. I honestly, I thought I tore my MCL from overuse. And I've been home for about a week and a half now, and I'm finally able to go a day without taking even any Tylenol or anything like that. Mm-hmm. So really, my best advice to anybody that's getting into it is start soft, start slow. And even if you've been hiking, if you haven't been on a trail for a while, take it easy. 7 or 8 miles is probably a limit for somebody if they haven't hiked in a couple of months.
No kidding.
Especially in the mountains. I mean, when you're doing 3,000, 4,000 foot elevation climbs and stuff like that, it'll knock you for a loop. Here in Nebraska, you're hard to find anything like that. The best trail within a couple hours here, you might gain 400 or 500 feet elevation, not 4,000 or 5,000 feet.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's hard on the body because of the change in the atmospheric pressure, the change in elevation and the oxygen. It takes 5 days for your body to make new red blood cells. And I think I heard that if you go to like Denver, the Mile High City, it takes your body like 2 weeks just to adapt to the elevation.
And that was another thing that kind of kicked me in the backside because I've gone to Colorado hiking and I'll go right into the mountains with like a day of acclimation and not have any problems, but you never know. You just never know. And this time, not only did I jack my knee up, but I did have some altitude sickness too. And that is no joke. That, I'm not comparing that to coronavirus or anything stupid like that, but there's just a multitude of symptoms that come with altitude sickness and it's not pleasant. So,
yeah, goodness. Well, I want to say hello to Lori's Crochet Corner too. She popped in. Mary is asking if you change your hats daily for your hikes with all the hats you have on the wall.
No, actually, this is the one I typically wear when I'm hiking. This is one of my favorite cottage companies. It's a small company that creates backpacking quilts. There's a difference between a sleeping bag and a quilt. Basically, a sleeping bag, everybody knows what a sleeping bag is. You get in, you zip yourself up, and you're all nice and cozy. Most backpackers, especially long distance backpackers, we all kind of become gear nerds and gear junkies, and if you'll pardon kind of a non-PC term, gram Nazis. It's all about how much everything weighs.
Sure. So
with a sleeping bag or a mummy bag, there's material in there that when you compress it, it does no good to insulate you. So a lot of people switch to quilts, which basically it's just kind of like a blanket that maybe has a sewn foot box that your feet stay warm, but then you're not wasting weight carrying material that you're really not doing anything. And this particular hat is for that company that I support. It's called Cedar Ridge Outdoors, and they're a great company, homegrown, local company down in. I'm not even gonna say it because I can't remember if it's North Carolina or Tennessee. The guys down there are gonna be mad at me, but that's fine. So no, those are my daily wears. Awesome. That's just kind of my collection. So.
Gotcha. Nomadic Hippie says he started the Mexicali, California, doing the Pacific Crest Trail. Made it as far as Mount Lassen when he was 17. Now he can't even walk to Walmart.
The PCT's another good one. I was on the East Coast. I was going to do the Appalachian Trail, which is from Georgia to Maine. It crosses 13 states. It's 2,200 miles, and it's basically the up and down is the equivalent of going over Everest like 16 times or 26 times. I can't remember.
Crazy.
The funny part is that if you actually were to start at one end and go to the other as the crow flies, it's only like 900 miles. So that means that for more than half of the hike, you're actually going the wrong direction. But, hey, whatever. The Pacific Crest Trail is on the West Coast, and that's another crazy one too. There's a matter of fact, there was just a kid that died on that trail. March, May, maybe, I can't remember. From an ice, he was climbing one of the craziest mountains out there, and slipped on some ice and fell like 600 feet.
Oh,
it was pretty tragic.
Wow.
Jeez.
Jeepers. Kathy's Outdoor Adventures. She is another avid hiker. She's out in the Sierra Nevada mountains in California.
And that's where that kid was.
Okay. Yeah, she's commenting the elevation in her area kills her more than the mileage anymore. So I can imagine that.
That'd be tough.
Mm-hmm.
So at some point you decided to start documenting a lot of this on YouTube. Like, what led you to decide to do that, and kind of what is the goal of your channel?
For me, it really YouTube became a way for me to share with my family back home when I was out on trail. Ultimately, it really was building the channel, learning what I was doing so I could make a better video when I was on the AT. Because when I'm on the Appalachian Trail, I'm best case scenario, I'm going to be gone for about 5 months. So the more quality video I can put together to send home through YouTube, that's really how YouTube started for me. And then it just kind of became just another fun out, I guess, another activity that adds to my hike a little bit. It's kind of like if you see me out on the trail, I've got a little stuffed sloth strapped to my pack, and he goes with me everywhere. And my kids have got a bigger version of that, and it's just kind of another way for them to connect. They've got a sloth that if I'm not around, they can talk to like it's me, and I've got them that. So when I'm on trail, I can take pictures with that sloth, and it's like they're with me. So
That's awesome.
Yep.
I love that. Hippie is asking if you've ever read the book Walk Across America. He says it came out like 30 years ago, and it's about a man who started in New York and walked the entire U.S., and it covered his full journey.
I've heard of it, but I have not read it. I have read a book called you know what? Never mind, because now I can't think of it. It was Walking Home or something like that, and it was similar to that, but I haven't read that particular book.
Okay. So
like running. Pretty much. That's pretty much what it came down to for me. It was just felt like going.
You mentioned earlier your gear. Now, we watched a couple of your videos the other day, and I was talking with Bill, and it was like, you essentially carry your whole world in that backpack.
Oh, yeah.
You have to have materials for food, your clothing, water, like how do you charge your phone? Like, all of these first world comforts are in your backpack, and that's it. And you're out in nature. So like what kind of gear, you got to dumb it down for us who have no idea about, the legit stuff, but like, what do you pack to get you by?
Well, I mean, it really comes down to what you can live with and what you can live without. That's for a lot of hikers. That's how it starts, and then you get the necessities, and then the price tag just starts going up as you change things out for something that's a little bit better, a little bit better quality, a little bit lighter, whatever. Like you said, you do have to have food. For a lot of long distance hikers, the best way to look at food is in terms of how many pounds a day of food you're going to need. There's nothing exotic about eating on the trail. We eat really boring food in most cases. It comes down to how much weight, how much extra stuff you want to carry to make it fancy. We eat a lot of nor rice sides, nor pasta sides, because you can just boil some water, throw it in the package, and eat it like that. Tuna packages. Food is really not exciting. Package of M&Ms, jar of peanut butter. Really, especially on the long distance hikes, your food intake has to go up, because on average you burn about 400 calories an hour hiking. And if you're hiking for 9 or 10, 12, 14 hours a day, you're burning a lot of calories.
Sheesh.
So a lot of people will lose a lot of weight while they're hiking. Not to suggest that long distance hiking is a way to go on a diet, because typically most people, when you get off trail, you still have what we call hiker hunger. So you're still eating the same way you did when you were on trail, but you're obviously not burning 5,000 calories a day. So you put, a bunch of weight back on. But water, most people carry 1 or 2 liters of water, and then we carry some sort of water filtration, whether that's water treatment tabs or a water filter that you can pump water through. And there's tons of different brands of that, different styles and options. Gear or shelter wise, that's one of those touchy subjects for hikers, because you're either using a tent, you're using a hammock, or you're just using a tarp and you're just sleeping under the tarp. But then when you talk about tents, there's different styles of tents, from freestanding to non-freestanding. Trekking pole tents, basically a tent that, instead of having the poles like you would think of for a typical Coleman tent, you'll use a walking stick to prop it up. And really, again, it comes down to what you're willing to sacrifice as far as space or comfort or whatever. For me, my luxury item is kind of a real pillow. It's by this company called Thermarest, and it's actually a cloth pillow that's got chunks of cut up memory foam in it. So it rolls up and it compresses, but it still weighs almost, half a pound. And everybody's going, "Oh my God, it weighs a half a pound." Well, like you said, when you've got your entire life on your back, 30 pounds is a lot.
Yeah.
When you're walking for 2,200 miles. And a lot of guys either won't use it. I keep saying guys, I apologize, because there's a lot of women hikers too. A lot of people will either not use a pillow at all, or they will use some sort of inflatable pillow that maybe weighs 1 or 2 ounces versus something that weighs 12 or 14 ounces like I do. So that pillow is kind of my luxury item. I've got a couple of different tents that use the walking stick to prop them up, and they're ridiculously light, but there's downsides to them. You get condensation on the inside of your tent, and then if it rains, it's like it's raining inside your tent too.
Yep.
So it really just becomes finding the right fit. You talk about, again, sleeping bags versus quilts, sleeping pads, whether you use just a foam pad, a inflatable mattress, or nothing at all. There's so many different things you can go with or without, and it just depends on personal preference and really distance too. I mean, if I'm only going on an overnight hike, I might take a hammock with me and call it good, but there's no way I could sleep in a hammock for 6 months. So that, like, to go on the Appalachian Trail, it just wouldn't work for me. I have to have a tent.
Yeah. Now, on some of those longer hikes, like for instance, the Appalachian Trail, I know that they have like markers or shelters there. So can you actually just camp out in the shelters for the night?
Theoretically, you could. And when I was in Georgia, I did sleep in 2 shelters, which was actually the reason that I ultimately ended up quarantining for 14 days when I got home, because you're talking about a shelter that's maybe as big as this room. It's 12 foot wide by 8 foot deep, and you've got 10 people sleeping in there. So you're pretty well packed in there, especially if it's raining. Then you pack more people in so that they don't have to be out in the rain. And theoretically, if you could get from shelter to shelter early enough, you could hike the Appalachian Trail without a tent. The problem is that if you show up at a shelter at 5 or 6 at night and it's already full, well, you can't exactly say, "Hey, I don't have a tent." Well, you get out. And that's the Appalachian Trail. You go to the Colorado Trail, where I was just out a couple weeks ago, and I didn't see a single shelter anywhere. And that's 485 miles. So, in fact, in most cases, there's not even like designated campsites like there would be on the Appalachian Trail. The Appalachian Trail is kind of unique because it was specifically designed by a couple of guys named Ben Mackay and I can't think of the other guy's name now, but It was designed to be a footpath, and that's it. So you can't have a horse, you can't have a bike, you can't take a motorcycle, anything on the Appalachian Trail. It is only for walking traffic. Whereas the Colorado Trail, it's got horses, it's got mountain bikers. It's just kind of a different animal, which is why I think that it's got more of the, I don't want to say luxuries, because when you talk about a shelter, you're talking about 3 walls and a roof. It's not a luxury, but it is protection from a little bit of the elements. Versus some of these other trails, which they have to spend more effort doing maintenance on because there's just more abuse to them. So they can't put as much time into building, specific campsites or shelters or things like that.
Mm-hmm. So now when you're on the trail, we also talked about like the food issue. Like, so you have, your pack has so much weight in it and you have to replace that food because it's not going to last very long. So
Yep.
How do you acquire that along the trail?
Well, that's a lot of town stops. Really, most people will carry food for an average of 4 to 6 days, because on most long distance trails, that's about the furthest you're going to need to go before you can cross a road and either call a shuttle or get a hitch into a town to go to a Dollar General or Walmart or whatever and get another 4 or 5 days worth of food. But like this year, that was one of the reasons that a lot of people were getting off trail, was because you just didn't know, was the Walmart going to be open? Was the Dollar General going to be open? Anything like that. You weren't going to be able to catch a hitch because people weren't going to want to let some stranger in their car. It just really became a point where a lot of the people that stayed on trail have ended up carrying 9-10 days worth of food. And again, when you're talking about 2 pounds a day or more,
Mm-hmm.
that's when all your gear, not including food and water, only weighs 18 pounds, and you've got another 18 pounds of food.
Jeez.
It just becomes a little bit ridiculous at some point. It depends on how bad you want it, I guess.
Yeah. Well, that's surprising to me. I didn't realize, when I think of the Appalachian Trail, I think of it's just totally out in the wilderness. So
Yep.
Are there like side trails that take you into towns or like, how do you know when to
there
stop?
are, in some cases, there's what they call blue blazes, which are side trails that aren't the official Appalachian Trail, and they might go to another view or a lookout or a tower or something like that, or they might go to another trailhead that'll get you to a road. But the reality is that when you're on the AT or even the Colorado Trail, the PCT, any of these long distance trails, some more than others, and it depends on which parts you're at, but you're probably not going to go more than a couple of days without crossing a road. I mean, like literally the trail crosses Highway 101 or whatever. So where that crosses in comparison to a town, it's hit or miss. But if you need to get to a town, I mean, you're really typically not more than a couple of days walk. So.
Okay, cool. So Vanderella is asking this question, and I don't know if it's like a hiker slang or hiker lingo. She says, did you have any trail magic?
Trail magic is basically you're hiking along and you find a cooler with Gatorade or a case of beer or something like that. People that, or you get to a trailhead and there's somebody that's got a canopy set up and they're cooking burgers. And they're literally just sharing burgers with all the hikers that come through. And I did experience trail magic once when I was on the AT. I was only in Colorado on trail in Colorado for 3 days. I did 55 miles and I didn't see any trail magic then. But I did one time in Colorado or in Georgia. I did get some trail magic. We got some burgers and chips and stuff. So that was kind of cool.
That's awesome.
So with the Appalachian Trail, I know you got down for a bit there, but it wasn't your fault. It's this COVID thing. So
Yeah.
are you gonna get back on the horse? Are you gonna get back
Oh,
out?
yeah. Oh yeah. No, like I said, I was just in Colorado. That was kind of my getting back after it. I did 55 miles this last trip. I'm hoping to get to Colorado one more time this year and do another 32 to finish up to Breckenridge. And that'll kind of be my long distance stuff for this year. The rest of this year will kind of be just 10 or 12 milers around local here home, with maybe an overnighter thrown in for good measure. But as of right now, pandemic aside, the plan is to go back to Georgia and start all over again, including the 70 miles I already did once. Next, probably March 1st, March 15th, somewhere in that ballpark of 2021. So,
How long does it take you to get through the whole trail? I think we were looking that up, and it's like months, right?
yeah. Oh yeah. Anywhere between, the average is about 5.5 months. And really, I know guys that have been out there for about 6.5 or 7 months now. There's a term they call an FKT, or fastest known time. And there are people that have done the whole 2,200 miles in, like 2 or 3 months. When I got out there this year, I had a goal of finishing in 140 days. So that from the day I left, I was home 3 days before. I was home by August 1st, which was 3 days before my son's Snot Rocket's birthday. So being out there for 140 days, taking what we call 20 zeros, which is basically a day where you don't hike at all. It's your rest day. I'd have had to hike for 120 days straight. I would have had to average, 18.8 miles a day.
Wow.
But my problem was that the further in you get, I think I mentioned earlier, you start to get your trail legs, which is basically your body just adjusts to walking constantly all day. Mm-hmm. And 18.8 miles sounds like a lot in the beginning, but once you get about 500-600 miles in, it's pretty easy to do 30 or 35 miles in a day for most people. The trail kind of levels off. You get into that Virginia area where it's kind of more like back here in Nebraska, not real crazy climbs. There's just some nice wavy hills and things like that. Longer days, it just becomes a little bit simpler to put out 30, 35 miles. Yeah. And like I said, when I got to Colorado, I did 20 and I hadn't hiked in 5 months. So,
crazy.
I think
I got there and I was doing 16s right out of the box, and I felt like I was running. Days were only about 10 or 11 hours long as far as daylight. And I noticed that I was so focused on trying to make my goal that I started to not really pay attention to what I was out there for, which was to enjoy what I was seeing and enjoy what I was experiencing. So.
Yeah. Well, the thing I also wonder about is when you're out there and you're hiking a trail like that solo for so long. I mean, yeah, you meet hikers along the way, but the isolation just seems almost daunting to me, to just be out there totally by yourself, not having conversations with others.
The thing I would throw out as far as that goes is it's really not. There are trails. You talk about the PCT. There's another one that goes through the middle of the country, through Colorado, and through Yellowstone and places like that, called the Continental Divide Trail. Mm-hmm. And there's a lot of isolation on those trails. There really is. But the Appalachian Trail, the Pacific Crest Trail, the Colorado Trail, you're going to spend hours a day hiking by yourself. But even when I was in Colorado a couple weeks ago, I started completely by myself. And by the end of the first night, I was already hiking with 2 guys. You kind of match pace, and you get to chatting every once in a while. We're stopping for lunch and things like that. You kind of decide you're all going the same distance. You want to go the same amount the rest of the day. Oh, well, there's a good campsite here. It's right by a creek. I'll probably see you there. And sure enough, you end up seeing them there. You have dinner with them. You have breakfast with them. And again, you might get up the next day and you're not hiking side by side the whole day, but you're kind of flip flopping and running into people.
That's cool.
And
you're building friendships.
Yeah, at least to get started, it's really not as isolated. You can get that isolation. You definitely can, because you can camp where there's nobody at, and you can find spots where you're secluded. But I mean, as far as a person getting into hiking, I wouldn't want that to be something that would deter people, because it doesn't have to be an issue.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of like RV life. People say, isn't it lonely out there? And really, it's not. Like we say, all you got to do is go out and walk your dog or fire up a campfire, and you're going to have a crowd around you before you know it.
Exactly.
Yep. Hey, Tumbleweed RV Life, thanks for coming in.
And I saw Thin Blue Lane earlier. Thanks for being here. I do know the Queen Mother has let us know that Beyond Beauty is not going on today. She usually has a show right after us, Tony, but she not going on today, not feeling well. So just to let everybody know that. So hope you feel better soon, BB.
Mm-hmm. So
Diary of a Family, Mount St. Helens is no joke. We climbed Mount St. Helens last year. There's the last mile and a half of Mount St. Helens is about a 45-degree angle straight up, not straight up, but just a straight. I mean, there's no switchbacks or anything, so you're just going straight up the side of the mountain, and it's all covered in ash. So it's like walking on the beach at 45 degrees. So you take a 2-foot step forward, you slide back a foot and a half.
Wow.
That was a brutal hike.
Just killing your calves.
Oh yeah, that one was crazy.
Wowzers.
Hi, burning up the roads. Yeah, when we were in Colorado Springs, I posted on Facebook or somewhere that we went to Pikes Peak, and you're like, tell me that you hiked. I was like, no.
Heck no.
I remember somebody told us, is it up Pikes Peak? There's the Devil's Backbone or something where you're climbing these basically railroad ties.
Oh, that's Manitou Incline. Yeah. And it is. It's the base of it used to be the old cog railroad that went up Pikes Peak.
Yep.
And it's brutal. I've done that twice, and you have to be a little bit sadistic to want to do that at all.
Yeah, that's what we hear.
Yeah.
Probably not with the kids. Probably not with me.
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of kids. Actually, the first time I went up, I was embarrassed because I'm about halfway up and I'm dying. I mean, I'm literally dying. And here comes this dad and this probably, 9, 10, 11-year-old little girl just bounding down. And I'm like, I was trying to be optimistic. I'm like, so she couldn't make it up? No, we're just on our way back down. I'm like,
oh, there you go. There you go. Well, Tony, it was great to meet you.
Yeah.
And we really appreciate you coming on and sharing your story and sharing about your hiking experience and, of course, your YouTube channel. So, everyone, you have to hop over. I think the bot's been putting it in there. Tony's channel, Mask Hikes. And you can check out, he's got various hikes and various gear reviews, and kind of walks you through setting up to go on these hikes so you too can get out there and adventure.
Yep. But yeah, you, Tony, hang out and we'll chit chat after we get off the broadcast here.
Well, man, I really appreciate you guys having me too.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
But sounds like Thin Blue Lane is saying volunteering. They can go live if everybody wants to head over there. I know Mel Nitty's here. I don't know if there is somebody to fill in, but you can always throw a link in there and we can head on over there, or just everybody knows. Go check out Thin Blue Lane. See what the Bales need to hang out.
Yeah. I think
Bill
they're still in New Mexico.
Are they? That stink. Oh yeah, that slide and all that.
All their issues down there. Yeah. So we'll have to go check it out, and maybe they'll fill us in on what's been going on.
Yep.
With that.
So this week we're on our videos. We're heading to Colorado.
Yes.
And then we got part 3 of our RV Living Start Here series that we should film.
Yeah, that's coming up Thursday. Yeah. And then hopefully I'm getting back to work because we need to make some money.
But she'll be here again next Sunday.
That's right.
But we'll be mildly entertaining and mildly out of focus.
Stupid camera.
Mentally and camerally. No, that's not a word.
No. Thank you so much, Melnetti, for throwing that link in there. We appreciate you.
Yep. Thanks
All
for
right.
everybody for buying us a cup of coffee. Appreciate you.
Absolutely.
You rock.
We thank you for being here. This has been Natasha.
And I'm Bill.
Winter Singer Travel Bug, encouraging you to get out there and nurse what makes you happy. Have a great week, guys.
Take care.